Good morning. I'm Lauren Liss. I'm the President and CEO of Mass Development, and we are the state's development finance agency. On behalf of the Baker Polito administration, it's a pleasure to welcome you here to New Bedford this morning to talk about what's in store for one of our favorite programs, the Transformative Development Initiative, or as we call it, TDI. Let me first thank Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito, not only for being here today to announce the next steps for TDI, but also for your unflagging support for community development across the Commonwealth, and particularly for your support of the TDI program. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Polito. Not only has Lieutenant Governor Polito visited each and every one of the 351 cities and towns across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but Lieutenant Governor Polito has also personally spent time in each and every one of our Transformative Development Initiative districts, and you've been able to experience firsthand the kind of economic development benefits that can come to a local community because of TDI. So again, thank you so much for your support. Thanks also to HED Secretary Mike Keneally, who wasn't able to be here today. I'm not sure if Deputy Secretary Tim McGurthy is here yet, but their support for this program has been invaluable to all of us. And the TDI program is really a true partnership on so many levels, and we simply wouldn't have a TDI program without the support of our leaders in the legislature, especially the Gateway Cities Caucus, and in local government. I know Rep. Schmidt might be here, might be coming. Thank you to him. Mayor Mitchell, of course, from the great city of New Bedford. And the newest mayor, perhaps Mayor Rodriguez of Brockton. So nice to have you join the TDI family. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to pay tribute to the late mayor of Brockton, Bill Carpenter. Mayor Carpenter was, simply put, an extraordinary leader in so many ways, not the least of which was his pivotal role in establishing and sustaining the TDI district in Brockton. He leaves us a remarkable legacy, and Mayor Rodriguez, we look forward to continuing our work with you in the future in Brockton. Finally, thank you to our hosts at the Co-Creative Center and the Waterfront Area Historical League, or WHALE as they are better known, and to Dina Hayden, who is the manager of this incredibly wonderful place. Great job, Dina. Thank you for hosting us this morning. Before I turn the program over to our speakers, I'd like to just say a few words about the TDI program. As the state's economic development finance agency, we at Mass Development know that at its foundation, economic development and community development go hand in hand. Quite simply, strong, vibrant communities are the building blocks of a strong, vibrant economy. And TDI is one of the tools that we use to support community development, particularly in our gateway cities. We've all heard of business accelerators, and we like to think of TDI as an accelerator for places, where we use a variety of TDI tools, including our all-important, invaluable TDI fellows, to engage local communities, implement local economic development initiatives, and leverage even more public and private investment. Over the short 3.5 years of the program, we've invested over $13.5 million, which in turn has either influenced or assisted over $100 million of follow-on public and private investment. Those investments in turn are leading to real tangible results in all of our TDI districts, whether it's new partnerships, improved streetscapes, new storefronts, and making sure that we have inclusive and welcoming social infrastructure. So I'm so proud of the achievements that we've made and garnered in TDI, and so excited to be here today to talk about the next step for TDI. And with that, I would like to introduce the great mayor of the great city of New Bedford, Mayor John Mitchell, who has been a true partner not only in the TDI program, but in economic development in so many ways in New Bedford, including our challenging and wonderful asset of the State Pier just down the road. We thank you. We thank you and welcome you up to make some.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I won't elaborate on the State Pier. We'll just leave it at that. But thank you for recognizing it, Lauren. We want to welcome everybody here today to the Co-Creative Center, and on a day that appropriately underscores why we at times like to refer to ourselves as the subtropical part of Massachusetts. You're in the thick of monsoon season right now, and so I appreciate everybody's coming here, notwithstanding the weather conditions. I want to thank you for that introduction, Lauren, and for the partnership. It's been a really productive one. I think it's at its core is your and your team's effort to understand the strategic needs of New Bedford from an economic development standpoint, the development of our prime economic assets, the development of the urban core, the spurring of business formation in places like this. And it's evident just looking outside the window, right? We have, one of the probably the most important MassWorks project that we've done in the last few years, thanks to your advocacy and that of the Lieutenant Governor, that's really dressed up Union Street, which in effect is New Bedford's downtown's Main Street. That has helped spur additional investment. So if you've gone to People's Press next door, and I commend it to you if you are someone who likes to eat at a higher level of nutrition than I, go there. It's great. The hotel, the New Bedford Harbor Hotel, which is going like gangbusters, another example. And you stayed there, so you're putting your money where your mouth is. Personally, it's her second stay at that hotel, and again, if you haven't stayed there, I commend it to you. So thank you, and thank you. I just wanted to recognize Jim McKeague, our TDI fellow in New Bedford over the last year. Jim's hiding around the corner. Here for Jim. As you can tell, Jim has quite a following here, but no, Jim's been great. Jim has, again, someone else who's put his own personal funds behind his professional work. He owns. He moved here after he was appointed to be the fellow here, and bought a house, and now he's a card-carrying member of Team New Bedford. So we really appreciate his work as well. And I just a few other folks whose hard work has to be acknowledged here. Derek Santos and his team at the EDC, of course. Christina Connolly, the city's chief administrative officer, both of whom are in the thick of economic development work in the city. And I also want to recognize our friends from other cities. Kathy Ann Viveros from Fall River does such a fabulous job keeping the trains running forward, doing everything else under the sun there. Just an enormously valuable public servant. We appreciate it. It's good to see you. It's been a while. It's good to see you. And I wanted to thank Mayor Rodriguez for coming today, and Chief of Staff Nick Gianquinto for our good friends in Brockton who have gone through a tough time recently. We all miss Bill. I personally miss him as a friend. I know the Lieutenant Governor does as well, because he was so effective in his job. And I know these guys, because they love their city, will keep Bill's work going. And just know that you have really good friends in New Bedford who are there for you. I just want you to know that we're really pulling for you, and we'll do whatever we can to support your efforts, because it's important. And I want to just again thank everybody for coming here today. The work of our legislative team. They couldn't be here today, but we appreciate their efforts. Most of all, I want to thank my good friend, Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito, for all that she does. And I we're here today for certain announcements, and I certainly have, enough of a sense of, as a politician, not to steal anybody's thunder, so I won't do that today. But I did want to say a few words about the work with Lieutenant Governor with my administration over the last several years. We are lucky to have a Lieutenant Governor that goes the extra mile to understand. Right? I've joked before that, she's been this enormous advocate of the maritime economy of New Bedford, and it just, which is so striking to me, given that she's from a landlocked part of the state, right? So she's overcome all of those limitations and has been able to understand its importance here, to understand it as a driver of economic development, to understand it as the set of competitive advantages it represents. And that's what makes cities go and makes cities sustain themselves over time. And that is if they have those competitive advantages that allow for capital to be attracted, for therefore jobs to be generated, therefore for people to be able to put food on the plates of for their families. I mean, and to allow their families to live the American dream. That's the set of dots that we try to connect. But it starts with, having those advantages and having policies in place that allow, through partnerships with the state and the municipal government, to a certain extent the federal government, to double down on those advantages. And that's why we focus so much on the maritime economy, so much on the arts economy as well here, because we know there are certain elements of those things that New Bedford does better than anybody in the country, right? And so this won't be an occasion where I go on about what a great fishing industry we have, because we all know it, and I know I'm preaching to the choir to a certain degree, but driving those advantages counts for a lot, and she has gotten behind those efforts in a very fulsome way and a very committed way over the years. And so I just want to say how much we appreciate your work, and to bring you on up to say a few words about these efforts right here.
Good morning. Clearly, the rain has not deterred any one of you from being here, and I'm thrilled that you all are here this morning. I'm really happy to be here in New Bedford, to be here with the mayor and his team, and thank you for hosting us right here at this spot, where a few years ago this really wasn't evident, and to take an historic place in a building with literally the cobblestone kind of wall that comes from this area, and turn it into a creative space where you're blending literally technology and the arts and the best of culture in this community into this place is really exceptional. So thank you for hosting us. And as I come here to visit with the mayor, which we did next door, having appreciated some coffee with you, I'm so glad that Lauren was able to stay overnight last night, and really appreciate the new hotel that's part of this district, and welcoming guests and accommodating the needs of people locally that want to stay here or have friends that want to visit here. Gives me a chance to check in. And when we check in, it's usually the case with a local official. There's highlights of the things that are working, and then there's always a few things that we need to follow up on. So it's great to have had that chance to catch up with you today. When people come from other parts of the state to visit a community that maybe you don't spend a whole lot of time in, because as local officials, you are so connected to your city or your town or your region, you don't get to get out much. It's great to be able to come to a place like this and really appreciate how great this Commonwealth is. I'm looking at you, Mr. Mayor. We spent some time in Brockton yesterday, but not probably often you get down to New Bedford. And when you come, you say, wow, there's a lot of great things going on here. Maybe I'll come back and I'll visit their restaurants or bring some friends. This is a great community I've spent a lot of time with, not only in my work as the liaison to our administration relative to communities, but as the chair of the Seaport Economic Council. And I do love the infrastructure that you have here, the state pier, which Mass Development is partnering with you on to bring more economic activity to this area, the dredging announcements that we made recently to help clear out some of the berths closer to the coastline so that more commercial fishing boats can get in there and do their work. The Sea Streak, that's having people from here go to Nantucket in the Vineyard, and having people from those places come here. It's really amazing to be able to highlight all of those things. So congratulations, Mr. Mayor, on your successes. And thank you for your willingness to work with us through this TDI program, because the TDI program is called Transformative Development Initiative, right? So what does that mean? And it really is an opportunity for the state employees, the workforce at Mass Development, to sort of use your downtowns and your neighborhoods as laboratories. So this is all about bringing innovation, bringing new ideas, bringing new approaches to developing main streets and downtown areas. Now, when you think about your own place where you are part of the local team, every TDI is different. The TDI in Pittsfield is different from the one in, I haven't announced it yet, but Pittsfield is different than the one close to my home in Worcester, and it's different than the one here in New Bedford. And what's great about the TDIs is you, as the local officials, are the sort of the defenders of your character and the unique assets and qualities that are of your community. Because while we want to transform and update and modernize, we don't want to transform and lose that local character and identity, but we want to bring in sort of the services and the expertise to be able to change in a way that will attract more investment and also attract the ability to create more jobs, more housing, more opportunities like arts and culture and restaurants and shops. You want to reach that equilibrium that creates the new vibe that helps introduce your community in a new way and have it because it has a different experience. So I think TDI, you've described it as being sort of a team of ninjas that kind of come in and they do the work with you in partnership with you, and then they move around. So that's part of what we're going to announce today. I have actually 3 announcements to make, and the first one has to do with the ability for our administration now that we're into a second term. And for those of you who are elected and knowing about getting into a second term, how powerful that is, right? To be able to take what you've learned in your first time of office and now build on that. And actually, Secretary Keneally and I have just done sort of a group of visits all across the state regionally to learn from community leaders, business owners, as well as municipal elected leaders and appointed leaders about the things that our administration has been working on that are working, and what to extend and what to expand, and then to also learn where the gaps are so that we can sort of create new programs or tweak existing programs so that they address those gaps. So today, we all know, because we're all here as part of the TDI family, that this is a program that works. And over the course of the past 4 years, under Mass Development's leadership, we've been able to perfect this program. So today, you heard the numbers, $13.5 million of Mass Development investment has unleashed over $100 million of partnership contribution. So that's a big ripple effect from the investments that the state is making. The TDI is not only about money, although money is great, cash is king. It's the service of TDI that's really important. It's the technical assistance, and it's the ninja, which is the expert resident professional that literally, like in this case, lives here, but really embeds themselves into your community, into your planning department at City Hall or Town Hall, and really literally walks the streets and knocks on the doors and gets a feel for what's happening in the district. So because we have been successful in these TDI districts. We are announcing first off today that we are expanding the number of districts, and we are very pleased to be able to add Chicopee and Fall River to the mix of TDIs. So maybe next time when we all get together, we'll be in Chicopee or up the street in Fall River. But Chicopee they're doing great. Mayor Koss isn't here, but I know that there are members of his team here. Could you please stand, the folks from Chicopee? Right here. Okay. So this is the West End Live, Work, Play District in the Urban Core of Chicopee Center, and looking to work with you to expand the opportunities there. But I love for you to put names and faces together, because now that you're part of this family, you need to support each other, and I think that's part of what we celebrate today. The other is in Fall River, and Fall River is here in the room right here, so thank you. So I know that everyone loves Jim McKeague around here, and now that he lives here in New Bedford and on the South Coast, he will be assigned to Fall River to continue his work. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm hiding back there from the
Okay.
but no, I appreciate it.
Did you want to say something? Do you want to welcome your new family member?
I am really excited to have the opportunity to work with the partnership in Fall River. It's a real honor. It's been a privilege to work with an extraordinary partnership in New Bedford for the past 3 years, and to have the opportunity to do it again with the Fall River Partnership, who just, again, an extraordinary group of people doing wonderful things in the city, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Zach and the team?
Yes, do you want to come on out?
There are mini ninjas that come with the big ninja.
There are many
so good.
ninjas already there. So
There we go.
and yeah, Laura Zapalak and everything that she has done with the partnership in Fall River has been wonderful. So thank you.
So what's happened is, it's not just that you're starting this effort now. Over the course of the past year or so, you've had a partnership, a formal partnership, to be able to develop the relationship and sort of the core mission of work. So
That's right.
Congratulations, because of that, you've earned the right to have an assigned fellow. So congratulations. Thank you, Chip. So you now are part of the Chelsea, Fitchburg, Lawrence, Springfield, and Worcester TDI districts. And in Springfield, we have a special opportunity here. I'd like to announce and thank Mass Mutual. Mass Mutual and the City of Springfield and the Springfield Business Improvement District are partnering to be able to have a dedicated fellow continue. Laura Masulis, who joined the program in 2015, will continue to serve as TDI Fellow for Springfield. And I know, speaking about that more specifically in a few minutes, is Ashley McGearo-Lee from Mass Mutual, and we want to thank you for your partnership. But it's an example of, this is not just publicly funded and fueled. You have municipal and state government working together, but then to bring in the private sector partner with Mass Mutual is really a key piece of this for us. And we are very grateful that you'll continue your work there. So thank you very much. We also have the ability to work in a different way. And one of the things that I've learned is the work that I've done at the community level, and every city and town has signed a community compact developing best practices and improving local governance. And as part of that effort together, you have worked on your plans, right? So you have economic development plans, you have housing production plans, you have master plans, you have downtown development plans, you have all these plans. And you have very dedicated municipal leaders who get up every day in your community because you love it and you work hard for it and you believe in it and you want it to get to the next level. So you have your leadership and you have your plans, but you need the partners and the resources to be able to make those plans literally come to life so that you can transform and help your community get to the next level, which is part of your vision. So we heard from you that you needed some more guidance, some additional guidance, and you didn't necessarily just want to think about your own community, but think about your region. Because if your community is strong and the collection of communities in your area are strong, it forms a region where you have commonality. And so we are creating a new position as part of the TDI program. And we're going to start, and we're going to test this out this year because we like to test things first. It's called a pilot. And then once you test it, because they're really good at this, that test is going to make it perfect, and then they're going to do more of it. That's the idea. We have a regional fellow, and we are very pleased to be able to announce someone very near and dear to your heart, George Durante, who will serve as a regional fellow. Does everyone know George? So come forward, George. I know you're tall, but all right. So, George, you just might want to just introduce yourself, but you are now earned this after 4 years embedding yourself in Brockton. You've really come to know and love. We're going to share. We're not. We're going to share George. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to share George with Taunton and Barnstable. And thank you, Brockton, for doing so, and for George's ability for Attleboro and Barnstable. George, thank you. Maybe you can just talk a little about your friends in Brockton, brag about them a little bit.
Sure. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. It's been a privilege and an honor to have the opportunity to work in Brockton over these past 3 years, and I'm delighted that I'm going to be able to continue to work with you for another 2. And to Barnstable and Attleboro, I can't wait to get started with you guys. We're in for it to have a lot of fun, and we're going to do a lot of hard work. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, George.
Thank you.
Fun and hard work, okay, those two come together. But when I think about the regional approach, I think about solving some of the needs that I think are obvious to all of us. When you think about housing, we need more units of housing in the Commonwealth. We have our housing choice proposal that's before the legislature to help develop better best practices around zoning locally so that we can create more units of housing. But in places like Brockton and New Bedford, how do we get more market rate housing into TDI districts like this? You get more people living in a district like this with some disposable income. They're going to want more shops and restaurants and activities and entertainment and things to do. So that's one area. The other is workforce. We hear this all the time. If we have people with the right skills that can help businesses within a region grow, or to be able to attract more businesses to that region, you can grow your economy organically, literally from the ground up, with the right investments locally, but with the right skilled workforce regionally and locally, we can create more jobs and opportunities. So we're looking forward to that as well. So we will continue our work making these investments. And I also want to go into my next announcement, which is going to be more on the local level. Okay, so regional to local. And they're just so clever over there at Mass Development. So they're thinking about how to be hyper-local. So now you take the district, you've defined the borders of your district, and you have your vision and your plan. Now we've heard from you that we need a little bit more. So if we have a storefront and we have literally someone interested in starting a restaurant in a storefront area, but there wasn't a restaurant there before. So there's really no infrastructure, pipes and plumbing and the electrical outages, power that's needed so you don't have outages, be able to power up the equipment in a commercial kitchen. How do you do that? And oftentimes there isn't enough resource from that individual to be able to bring that forward. and certainly it's a gap from a municipal standpoint to be able to fund that need. So that's an example of how mass development is using its portfolio of resources to expand these opportunities. So there are 5 categories where there has to be a match from the municipality to be considered. One is local lift, which is to help improve storefronts. Lease it local is another category to provide subsidies to leases and some of those fit out, those small build out grants for lease it local. Find it local. We've heard a lot about this, that we want to be able to tell a lot of people that you have a business, that you have a service, that you have a restaurant, whatever it is. So find it local is a marketing strategy that you can also apply for. Local launch, to be able to associate as businesses together to support each other, business to business, so local launch. And then we have a catch-all category, right? So that sometimes you're so creative at the municipal level, you think of something that doesn't nicely fit into a box. So they created a 5th category called just sort of a unique category that you have an idea that needs a funding solution and to be flexible about being able to service that need. So those are the 5 categories, and I'm pleased to announce $270,000 in grants to local organizations in the 7 TDI districts across the Commonwealth. We're going to leave New Bedford for last. So we'll save that one. But we're going to start with Brockton. And I want to express how grateful I am for Mayor Carpenter's leadership. This was one of his programs that he started last year called PROVA. PROVA is a word that is defined as proof. And Mayor Carpenter wanted to prove, not only to the Brockton community, but to the larger community, that in downtown Brockton, there is great restaurant scene, there's a foodie scene, there's culture, there's arts, there's a vibe, there's entertainment, there's things to do. So he started this pop-up in a location on Main Street, and he called it Prova, and it was like a beer garden that had a lot going on in it every Thursday and Friday night over the course of the summer. And it was such a great success that you want to continue that this year. I can't wait to visit with you. And we are very pleased to grant you $15,000 toward that effort to continue Prova. And to Mayor Carpenter, thank you. The next is Chelsea. You have some competition on the foodie scene because Chelsea is looking to incubate a small business lab around food production and an incubator for entrepreneurs around developing restaurants and developing a downtown business district brand. So $40,000 in grants to Chelsea. Chelsea, where are you? Chelsea?
We'll take their money.
Okay, all right. There you go, there's the spirit. So we'll have to go visit Chelsea at some point and remind them how important this is. All right, Fitchburg, I know you're here, coming from central Massachusetts. I've visited multiple times what you're doing there, reimagining Main Street in partnership with Fitchburg State University and bringing a theater back online and developing a storefront scene. So you have $65,000 for facade improvements and lease assistance for reimagining North Main Street. So congratulations. To you. Lawrence, I don't know if Lawrence is in the house. Lawrence, okay. Mayor Rivera, we're going to get. We'll get to you, but it's $40,000 for his facade improvement program, and they've done a lot of great work, including hosting this event in the past. The city of Pittsfield, I'm not sure Pittsfield is here either. So that's a long way off, but Mayor Tyre is doing a whole lot around E4All. E4All is something that many of you are familiar with to develop more entrepreneurship and incubate ideas locally to form small businesses. They're getting a $15,000 grant. My friends from Worcester? Okay. Hi, thank you. Thanks for not letting me down today. Okay, so the Maine South Community Development Program is getting $55,000 for downtown activation, facade improvement. Basically, you want to bring more people, more foot traffic to that area, so this will assist you in that effort. So congratulations to you. So I am going to give the last award to New Bedford, and this is for $40,000 to a program you started locally called Wicked Good Places. So that sounds wicked good to me. Maybe you would like to describe a little about how Wicked Good Places came to be. I think it's a great effort and really spotlighting and highlighting sort of the new area in New Bedford, and I think the $40,000 will go a long way to helping you do that. I just want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for hosting us. I'm going to transition back to my seat, but just wanted an opportunity to talk about Wicked Good Places, and I want to congratulate all of you and thank you so very much for your partnership. I look forward to revisiting and seeing the progress that you're making in your respective communities and regionally. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you. Well done. Again, I just want to reemphasize that I know I speak for the cities that are represented here, just how much we appreciate the partnership. It's, having, that kind of gap filling in some cases, stimulus from the state can go a long way. It really does. And sometimes it's physically evident, sometimes not, but know that it matters, and so we really appreciate the work that you've done to get behind it, as well as that of our friends at Mass Development. So just real briefly, so the Wicked Cool Places program is as it sounds. It's all the cities represented here today have certain places that are the source of a great deal of civic pride, and the idea is really just to make the most of them, right? To make them even more appealing, to amplify their appeal. And ours is the brainchild of Derek Santos and his team, working with a number of other groups. But for us, it's a way of putting money into public spaces, to places that are visible, whether they are storefronts, whether it's public art, or other things that people might be drawn to make them happen, right? So, New Bedford, one of our primary assets is that we have a very fertile art scene. And a few years ago, and some of you are familiar with this, Richard Florida, writing for the Atlantic Monthly, said that ranked the most artistic cities in the United States, and he ranked New Bedford number 7, and it was based on the per capita number of working artists living in the city. And so and for New Bedford, that's nothing new. It's been that way really since the height of the whaling industry, when some of the merchants in town were underwriting the work of major artists, nationally significant artists. And so it continues today. We've always had this this ecosystem of art here, and the Wicked Cool Places program really is our way of throwing jet fuel on it, right? We really want to accentuate all that and bring it out to the fore and really celebrate, because these days people are looking for novelty, right? We don't want to be someplace that's like you see if you drive across the country, that's marked by strip malls and highway townhouses off to the side of the highway. We want to accentuate our uniqueness, and I think this program is intended to do that, and the additional funding from our partners in the Baker Polito administration will make it even better. So thank you for making that happen, and we look forward to seeing all the great work as we all get around the state and see all these wicked cool places everywhere. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell, Lieutenant Governor Polito. So I guess I got to introduce the rest of the ninja team from Mass Development. The TDI team starts with Noah Koretz, who is our Director of TDI. Standing right behind him, Andrew Levine of our TDI team. Laura Barrett hiding in the corners over there. creative genius of the team, and I think Alejandro Lopez is also here. There you are. Newest member of our team. So thank you. So these are the glue. This is the special sauce. These are the ninjas. So this is a good time for you to, if you haven't met the TDI team, to get to know them better. I also want to announce that Dina Hayden, who is getting over, I think, an illness, is not going to be speaking today, but she's graciously volunteered to give any tours of the Co-Creative Center. So, Dina, I think you're... Wave. Don't shout. Don't shout. So anybody can get to know this beautiful space. There's a basement as well, and just has some incredible assets and capacity here. So thank you again all for coming. Thanks. Okay. I am so sorry. I am now going to invite up a representative from Mass Mutual to deliver some remarks. Okay. My apologies. For that glitch. So we will be concluding the program with a picture. I'd like to invite everyone who got to participate in this event, and it's either a new district or an awardee of our local lift grants, to come up and take a picture and celebrate this great announcement. Okay. Thank you.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But I get it, you're busy, and busy people can't have prediabetes. I read that wrong. They can, okay? Just go to the site.